Hello everybody, welcome back to the KCM. We're here for match 3 of the first half. We've got Team Queen versus Team Bisou. Yes, that's right. Bisou has taken the reins here. Mini stepping back. Wonder what's going on there.
Well, it's got to be a case of seniority, surely. Bisou definitely around for a lot longer than the likes of Mini, so maybe wanted to step down and give that mantle, maybe rightfully so, to Bisou. Definitely a man of pure experience and caliber.
Well, I was thinking perhaps it's because Mini is either tilted from the ASL or is preparing for his next match in the ASL. Either way, he's busy. Left the reins to Bisou. I don't think that gives any spoilers away, right? We're committed to no spoilers here for other tournaments. So Mini is stepping back. Bisou going to take over the reins. He's got a full Protoss squad to work with here, whereas Queen much more balanced in the race distribution.
Yeah, I'm really liking to see Barracks and Tosco, both really fantastic players. Don't really need any introduction for either one of those. Tosco is like an incredibly high APM female player that's been around for pretty much as long as any of the other players have been. YC, not necessarily the strongest of Protosses, but definitely respectable. And in this Zerg lineup, the Queen, Zealot, and JB, definitely really strong players there. Zealot, extremely aggressive, cheesy player, about 50 to 100 different ways of killing you. So really excited to see some games from him. And over on the Bisou squad, we got all these Protoss apes, but then we got Bora, the Terran driver. Maybe these chimps just their feet couldn't reach the pedals and needed just that one Terran designated driver to make sure they got onto the matches on time.
Yeah, they did need that one Terran player. Let's take a look at today's matchup. Got a new section for you here today. All of the 6 first matches have already been pre-decided here by the team captains. Team Queen over on the left-hand side, of course. We've got Team Bisou on the right-hand side. And the first match we're going to have here is JB versus Kim. So DIM, that's her name according to Wikipedia. But we're just going to call her Kim because that's how it sounds in Korean. And Dim doesn't really, isn't the greatest name. So we're going to call her Kim. That's just for now. We've got Zealot versus Mighty. Then Barracks versus Bisou, Toss Girl versus Bora for that TVT, YSC versus Tyson, Queen versus Bisou. And then once we get to set 7 and 8, each team will be able to ban one matchup. So whichever they feel is their weakest matchup, they'll ban those matchups. And then we're going to spin the roulette wheel, figure out which of the remaining 4 matches is going to be redone. Oh, I actually put Bisou here twice. Hold on a second. It looks like we made a mistake. I'm gonna find out. I think that's actually Mini at the end. Set 6, yeah, that's right. Set 6 was Mini. I'll have to change that.
Bisou's OP gets to play twice.
That would be a little unfair if you could let your team leader play twice. But yeah, it's gonna be Mini there, set 3. Sorry about that, guys. Let's get into game number 1. All right, there we go. I fixed it. And we're going to get started with match number 1. Here we go. We've got Kim here, starting off in the bottom left, that blue Protoss player. And down here in the bottom right, we got JB, Zerg, one of the few Zerg ladies players that we've got.
Yeah, it's a shame that we don't see JB up against Tosco. I really would have liked to see a TVZ matchup with Tosco involved for that, high APM bio style that she used to be so renowned for. Would have been a nice little blast on the past there. But nonetheless, going to be seeing a PVZ here instead, and can't be too unhappy about it. Hopefully we see a good game out of Kim here. Going to be going for a pylon in the natural expansion. I'm curious though, this is probably going to be a gateway first since she sent the probe straight back to the main base. So we're probably going to be a forge coming out from her. So maybe a little bit of a early aggression with the Zealot timing. Now let's see, it's going to be 11 hatch out from JB, or maybe a quick pull.
Yeah, it does look like a gateway build here. Have a bit of that pressure. We'll see how JB stands up to that. It is a little tough if you're going to go 11 pool here. Oh, 11 hatch. Okay, actually the pool has been thrown down. So, was this an overpool or was that after producing drones?
Oh, that was Overpool.
Okay. So overpool, very, very standard in this matchup. Definitely the way that I like to play this.
Yeah, I think Overpool is probably the not the most economic way of playing this matchup, but certainly one of the most safest ways of playing.
That really makes you safe against early Zealot aggression, and it does give you the option to put some pressure on of your own. Could end up getting blocked though with the hatchery and the natural, but Dim just not going to be there in time. Kim not going to be there in time. And gonna scout this forward gateway as well. Sees everything, so there is an option here to just continuously produce lings and try to come over here and fight this early Zealot and try to overwhelm.
Yeah. It'd be really curious to see just how confident Kim is with her Zealot control, because right now she's playing almost 300 APM. Be curious to see how long she can maintain this for, if she's the kind of player that is comfortable doing these quick task switching things where she's switching back and forth between the micro and the macro, and if she can handle keeping up with a Zerg player in the early game phases where it does require a lot more finesse in the early game control, or if she's going to sit back and more or less just turtle up until she has a high count of Zealots to move out with later on.
I'm sure she's been getting some good practice here lately with her large Protoss lineup. There's a lot of ZVP this week as well, so I'm sure that they've been doing a bit of a boot camp over at Team Bisu, getting prepared for this, but a lot of lings have been produced here. Third Zealot is out. This is kind of the tipping point. With 3 Zealots, it's very hard to actually get by here. She's not blocking her ramp though, so I'm a little worried that we may see JB run by here. More and more lings being produced and being sent to the front. The Forge has started. I think that Kim's gonna hold this off without much problem.
Well, she might hold it off for the time being, but this gateway is getting dangerously low, and Ling speed is about to finish up as well. So this could be a little bit of a tricky situation. Good surround on the Zealots as well, but not the greatest target firing. So one Zealot is going to slip away on red HP, and a nice Zealot control going to be mitigating most of the potential damage on those Zealots. Didn't even lose a single Zealot there, one down to just 9 hit points. So really beautiful Zealot control, going to be saving the day. But now the gateway being focused down by JB here, finally gets the kill on that. And then the Zealots, like I say, are very low on hit points now. With the Ling speed about to finish up, it's going to be a little bit of a nightmare situation for Kim to stabilize, because this cannon will not be able to be defended. She needs to drill with her probes right now, but it's not going to be able to do so. Cancels the cannon, and now the Zealot could be surrounded. I think this might be a really dire situation for Kim. She just blocked the ramp with the probes for the time being, but it looks really bad for her, Sam.
Yeah, too slow with the probe drill there. She really needed to bring the probes out before the gateway went down. Also have a probe ready to produce another building behind that to kind of block that up, but was not prepared for that, wasn't ready. Ends up getting broken here by the early lings. You see that very, very often in the lower levels of ZVP. Can be very difficult to navigate the early game with that early gateway, especially against 9 pool, and Kim just falls apart. We're gonna jump into our next game here. Wow, really, really quick first game. Let's go on to that next matchup. Okay, match number 2. We got Zealot versus Mighty, and a probe already being sent out here. Some cheese coming from Mighty. It's unexpected.
Yeah, he's gonna fight fire with fire, Sam, it looks like. Because Zealot, as you know, is a cheesy guy. He's got like 100 different builds he can kill you with, and he's gonna find the right tool for the job one way or another. But Mighty looks like he wants to be in the driver's seat here, Sam, and saying, no, I'm gonna be cheesing you today, buddy.
Yeah, I wonder where this is going. Is he gonna go around to the back? He's gonna go over that ramp and into the back area, I think, and produce some gateways here. Oh, is he actually going into the main? Where is he going right now with this probe? All the way to the top? Oh my god, what is...
Gateways in the main.
Oh my god. I really thought he was actually going to place them on the low ground. You know, at the bottom left of the map, or at the very bottom center of the map, just below that ramp. But right here in the main, pretty risky. But he's going to get away with it for now. Let's see if Zealot spots this. If he spots it, you could just pull drones off, just pull drones and kill the gateway. But if you don't spot it, then Zealots start to trickle in here. And he goes for a 12 hatchery. He's going to be in a lot of trouble. Yeah, this is what I thought was going to happen. Overlord being sent north. I think it might spot this.
It might just barely.
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
But it's a little bit too late though, Sane. He's already placed the 11 hatch down at the third base location. He's cancelled it. He knows he needs to cancel it. Throw down the pool instantly. His only chance for defense now. Cancels the hatchery. It's a little bit of a painful pill to swallow for him here right now, Sane. But unfortunately, going to have to bite that bullet and have to just cancel that, suck up the losses, start to quickly get this pool on the way, maybe make a sunken colony if needed, and try and desperately hold on in the main base here. But it's going to be a little bit of a dire situation for Zealot, but scouting it does give him a fighting chance.
So, do you think going for a sunken is the call here? Is that the idea? Oh, Zealot's gonna hatchery. Oh my god.
He's gonna defend at home while hatching the main base.
Oh, this is amazing. This is amazing. The cheese pizza Protoss, or the cheese pizza Zerg.
Yeah,
Zealot here.
You make the sunken in the main. You just make the hatchery in his main.
Oh my god, this is crazy. All right, we're gonna have to see a really good drone defense here from Zealot. He's pulling back his drones away from this first Zealot here. Pushing them back. Nice drawing back there from Mini just to avoid the drone drill there. But the sunken colony finishes and forces everything back. We're gonna have some lings popping out here. He's gonna block the ramp so that Zealot can't go across the map and deal damage to him back at home. But little does he know, there is a hatchery in his main base that's gonna start to produce lings. And he'll be able to deal the damage that way. And over here at the gateways, he can't really hold on against the lings that are being produced right now. We're going to continuously produce lings. And over here, we're just going to start harassing that main base very, very soon. He's going to sunken push this. All right, Zealot. Sunken pushing towards... Oh, he scouts it! Oh, that's huge. He sees it already. What does he do here?
Yeah,
throw down a forge?
No, Mini wants to put the pressure on now. He's going to bring all the Zealots to bear and try and overwhelm this position right now. Try and kill this Sunken before it can finish, because he needs to get a high count of Zealots to be able to continuously fight Zealot. If he lets the Sunken push go unchallenged, he's in trouble. So he's going to keep killing the Sunken over and over again. He has a high hit points on these Zealots, but the problem now is the counterattack from Zealot can't really be denied by Mighty, because these Zealots are so slow in getting back across the map. So he might just want to try and kill Zealot in the process and go for a little bit of a weird base trade scenario, but I'm not sure that actually favors Mighty. I think this favors Zealot, so I have to see what happens here.
Yeah, oh god, I think he's gonna go for the spawning pool here. I'm surprised we haven't seen Zealot add on any more buildings. Can he actually kill this spawning pool? He might be able to get it. Meanwhile, Zealot should be going in to kill some of these probes over on Mighty's side of the map. He's killed look at this. He's not really microing his Zerglings over here. He's trying to keep this sunken colony alive, but it dies, and now he can't produce Zerglings or sunken colonies at all. I think Zealot's just thrown this game away, unfortunately.
Well, maybe, but he can kit his drones all the way over to Mighty's base and start mining there, whereas Mighty can't mine in Zealot's base. So without the pool, though, I'm not... Did he morph that other creep colony into a sunk before his pool died? I don't know if he has two sunkens online at this other base or not. It might come into play quite significantly in this game here. If this other sunken colony, it does in fact exist, maybe there's a chance here. All the probes, though, getting sniped by Zealot as well could be a little bit of a wind in his sails, but unfortunately, it's going to be hard for him to mine this main base of Mighty without taking too many losses against these Zealots coming over here. But if this other creep colony is in fact a sunken, I think he has a chance here.
I think he needs another pool. Oh god, he needs to throw down the pool right now. Where's the pool? You have to make this pool. He had 200. Yeah. He had 200 there. He needed to start the pool. Oh goodness, this is gonna be crazy. That's a lot of Zealots and some probes as well. This is a good number of lings. He's gonna actually make a little concave here, I think, at the top. He made drones back at home. What are we seeing? He used 150 minerals to make drones.
He wants to drone drill from behind with those drones, I think, is the idea here. But yeah, he just wants every fighting unit possible because he doesn't got a pool. He's anything to fight. First, now target firing off those probes, going to be taking those down quick order. But the two Zealots do get concave rather well. There's a lot of Zealots in reserve, though. 5 more Zealots ready to bring to bear against these remaining 5 Zerglings. But there is one Sunken defending this hatchery, so it is a little bit tricky for Mighty to come in and finish the game. If only this other creep colony was a Sunken, this would be more or less GG for Zealot. But with just one Sunken, there is a puncher's chance here for the Zealot Protoss coming in and fight this. But it's not, maybe not good. A beautiful surround from Zealot Gale on top of these Zealots, Sam.
Oh my god, I can't believe he let the Zealots get on top of that Sunken colony. He needed to bring the drones here a little sooner. The drones are fighting, but still 3 Zealots left over. He needs to just get the kills on these Zealots, but it appears that Mighty has taken this game away. No way. I can't believe that Mighty's managed to win this. I really feel like Zealots messed this up kind of unforgivably here. How can you let the Zealots walk right up on top of that Sunken colony and just start getting the hits, get that surround? That's crazy to me.
Yeah, I don't know how he let the Zealots get such a beautiful surround on that Sunken like that, more or less for free. Like you say, it's a big blunder by Zealot here. A little bit weird, to be honest with you, but it is what it is. These things happen even at the highest echelons of play. Looks like now Zealot just kind of processing this loss, but it is going to be a really tough nut for him to swallow. Zealot GG's finally, unfortunately, going to be another point on the board here.
Unbelievable. The cheese gets cheesed here. That is wild to me. I love the idea of building the hatchery in your opponent's main, but that just did not pan out for Zealot. He's going to get knocked out. We're going to go on to match number 3. Wow, that's got to be a painful loss there for Zealot. I really do think that he made some serious errors, some micro mistakes in that last game that kind of cost him the win there versus Mighty. And you know, that's a tough way to debut. Getting cheesed in your debut match in KCM, that's a painful loss.
Yeah, and he's a microcentric player, so really uncharacteristic of him to have a performance like that. So I mean, I'll give him a benefit of the doubt of one game, but if I see a performance like that from him again, I'm going to be starting to scrutinize him quite harshly, because that's definitely not in his list of characterizations that I've seen in his games of late. So hopefully we see some better games out of him soon, but let's just see if his team can even just stay in this tournament for the time being. That might be all he had a chance to prove, and now you'll be seeing instead the other team, Bisu, just racing ahead and slapping everyone down with their all-Protoss lineup.
Yeah, we were just talking about this all-Protoss lineup and whether it's a good idea or not, and I think it's actually a pretty solid strategy to base your team, like just pick up all of the same players of the same race, because then all players benefit from every practice session, right? If we have Bisu training Tyson, then everyone can watch and learn from what's being taught, and there's less matchups to prepare for. So I feel like it's a solid strategy, and we'll see how it plays out here. Bisu and Mini on the same team just seems OP to me. We're gonna have Bisu here versus Barracks in this next match, and we'll see how Barracks measures up here on a Neo Sylphid. He started out with an early gas. He's got the factory rolling. Not gonna go for the gasless fast expand that's been really popular on this map that I've seen Flash do a whole lot here. Just playing it a little bit safe and going for a more standard build, and Bisu kind of doing the same as well.
Yeah, nothing out of the question that's really strange from either player right now. Both walking a path very well tread before, so neither one going to be catching each other off guard. There is this very safe SimCity to walk back to with these Marines, so even though the Zealot could in theory kill these Marines, there is the safety of this SimCity to not worry about anything right now. But the delay on the factory is the big deal. Now this SCV was on the right hand side for Barracks, so that was a little bit unfortunate, getting the SCV shut down, delaying the factory just a few seconds, and then also getting the SCV kill is a little bit of a nice little bonus for Bisu going forward here. It's going to give him a little bit of a confidence boost and make Barracks, who is a tiny bit more uneasy in the early game. Not really a huge deal, but every little helps in a game of such crazy small advantages, becoming huge mounds of snowballs that can be leveraged against one another later on in the stages of the game, with both players got such huge armies to fight one another with.
Yeah, the bit of an RNG win there for Bisu, having the SCV float to the right-hand right-hand side of the factory at that moment. You kind of just cringe as a Terran player, like, oh, really? But, you know, it's something that is a part of Broodwar. It is something that you have to be there for as well. Bisu showed up at the right moment. He was there just before the factory was finished and was positioned to take out that SCV. So he made his own luck is what I'm trying to say a little bit there. And now he's going to come in with this Vulture, but a Zealot blocking the entrance here, and the second Dragoon's going to pop out, so he's not going to be able to slip by with the Vulture. Again, Barracks just being blocked out here, not able to get any damage with that first Vault, but he doesn't lose it either. He should be able to hide it somewhere out here on the map for when that mines upgrade comes in. He'll be able to start laying down mines here and force the Dragoons back and away from his wall.
Yeah, very astute reading of the game from both players. They're understanding the general ebb and flow of this early TVP, of exactly when the units are popping out of the gateways and knowing how long that these holes need to be plugged for before the Dragoon can come out and stabilize. For example, just barely enough hit points on this Zealot for the Dragoons to come back and save the day and maybe even get the kill on the Vulture. Really unfortunate they didn't kill this Vulture because the 3 mines had not yet been laid, so if he had killed that, that would have been huge.
That was a huge gamble from Barracks there. He tried to run by. He tried to just kill the Zealot there and then get into the main base, but coming back in time with the Dragoon, this mine is going to be laid down. But he's being very aggressive with these early Vultures. It's paid off for him so far. At least it hasn't really, maybe it hasn't paid off, but it has at least not punished him so far. He tries to bait those Dragoons into that mine, but the Vulture gets picked off, and now Bisu gonna be able to pick off this mine. Very nicely done. Dealing with this early Vulture aggression very, very cleanly here is Bisu, and starting off a wall here as well. He's not going to take any damage from this.
Yeah, Bisu just turning his nose up at these cheap parlor tricks that Barracks is basically trying to throw his way, and he's just not having any of it. Like, none of these curveballs are going to be doing the job to someone like Bisu, very well versed in the kind of shenanigans that Terran can throw his way. So going to be navigating his way in this early game very, very nicely, leading up to probably about a 7-minute third base time. I would like to see a very quick timing from Bisu here going forward. We see tanks starting to be made from Barracks, which is a sign that he wants to be more defensive or do a quick push here. Maybe he wants to do a 5-tank push early on, but usually when you see a Terran player making tanks, it's a sign of them wanting to be defensive. When they make Vultures, it's a sign of they want to be aggressive. So right now it seems like Barracks is starting for the first time to feel a little bit more uneasy in this matchup and realize that he needs to start thinking about the more later game stages.
Yeah, this is it's a rough position for Barracks here. The early game aggression, because of being so aggressive with those Vultures. Oh god, this is gonna slip right through that tiny little crack between the 2 turrets. He's gonna get that observer in. But being so aggressive with the early Vultures means he doesn't have mines at the potential third base location, so he doesn't know about this third base right now. He actually doesn't know anything about what's coming here for Bisu, and it's just a 2-gate Dragoon with Observer right now, so he's got a fairly significant army, but this Reaver that he's preparing for in the main is not coming. It's just going to be a very quick third and a lot of ground units here. And look at this, Barracks gonna try and take a fight in the middle of the map. How's this going to go? There's a lot of Dragoons over here on the left-hand side. Oh,
he does get a bit of a surround on these Dragoons with these Vultures. If there's some mines with these Vultures, could have maybe punished this, but only 1 mine available to be laid and not going to be getting anything done. And now these 3 tanks in full retreat and exposed. Some pot shots could be taken on those in retreat. Some of these Vultures going to be forced to lay some mines in their wake to protect them. Vulture also coming to the third base location. Going to be sniping this probing, a little bit annoying, denying an early transfer of probes to that location. But so far, Bisu kind of dotting his I's and crossing his T's and not really having to deal with anything too troublesome from Barracks, and Barracks not really able to find much for his troubles here. Now we're going to be seeing some Reavers coming out from Bisu, having even more ability to come out onto the map, slow down these pushes, and maybe put in some counter-harassment of his own.
Yeah, Bisu handled that brilliantly. Looks like another run by here. Oh, he could catch these probes that are being transferred, maybe get some good damage here. This is the first damage that really all this aggressive moves from Barracks has actually been able to get. And there's that hole here Uh-oh, a lot of probes going down there. That was a great move by Barracks. Just kind of endless aggression with those vultures. Ends up paying off in the end. Finally gets some probes there. And that's going to be satisfying for Barracks, who's just been trying for that over and over again.
Yeah, one thing that can be said about that is that he doesn't have a lot of factories right now, so he might not have a lot to clean up the harassment in his main base if Bisu wants to be very aggressive with this harassment right now. Good pull on that Zealot, going to be stopping the mine detonating on that Reaver. You might get 3 of these depots as well, but the SCVs might need to start repairing this bottom depot to save that. I don't think he's going to be able to quick enough. Maybe losing probably all 3 of these depots. So it's going to be really a nightmare situation for Barracks now. So currently supply blocks 77 to 68, can't produce any units, and has very little vultures right now because he just lost them all while killing those probes. So very low unit count for Barracks, making them feel very uneasy in the situation and not really able to commit too many units to defending this Reaver.
Oh, Barracks, his building positioning here actually hurting him very badly. You can see that turret between the command center and the supply depot there, creating this little wall with the academy that the tanks had to move all the way around in order to get to that left side. He wasn't able to siege up in range of the Reaver, so that damage was really Barracks just not having the building positioning that he needed to deal with that. It was also a bit of luck there for Bisu. You know, he dropped that Reaver just barely outside the range of that mine. If that mine had triggered and dealt a bunch of damage to the Reaver, maybe he wouldn't have felt confident to pick off all those supply depots. But, you know, the combination of a little bit of luck from Bisu and a bit of bad building positioning from Barracks means he got a pretty decent amount of damage there. No SCVs were killed, but that really hiccuped his the Terran's production. And now gonna fly in with another drop here in the main. Double Reaver this time. He's a little bit trapped right now, though. He hasn't picked off that turret here. So he is kind of stuck in the back right now. Marines are being sent up to try and deal some damage to these shuttles, but one stray shot from these Reavers should be able to pick that off. Does manage to find an escape route here, though. Bisu over in the top right will get out with the 2 Reavers. That was a scary moment, though.
Yeah, pretty scary moment here, and I'm a little bit worried for Barracks going forward. He's starting to bleed off some units a bit unnecessarily. He got so slowed down because of the supply block. His infrastructure is just ground to a halt. Finally now, maybe has the prospect of moving out to secure this 3rd base, but BT's already lined up his 4th and is chugging along nicely. So I really do feel like there's a strong edge in this game favored towards Bisu, and Barracks is kind of limping along for the time being. Can maybe restabilize himself in this game, but it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle for the time being.
Yeah, it looks like he's gonna move through his main base out in towards the 3rd, but you can just see the labor intensive movement here from Barracks. It's very hard for him to get anything out of this main. The buildings are kind of clumped up on top of each other, forcing the units to really take a long path here. And that's going to be painful if he ever has to run back into his main. If we see a recall later or, you know, a mass drop into the main, how is Barracks ever going to be able to get a significant force back into that main to defend? It's going to be very, very hard. A shuttle coming around the top right. Do we have Storm already? I haven't seen a shot of Bisu's base for a long time.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure if he has Storm online or not. I imagine he should by now. It's coming up to that time. Yeah, here's the Storm online. Does have enough energy as well for the Storm. So unless he forgot the upgrade or just is delaying himself right now, waiting to pull the trigger and get into the main base on this train. There's a pretty sizable amount of SCVs for him to dunk on right now. So I'm curious if he's going to go for it or not. Finally does unload again, but doesn't quite pull the trigger quick enough on these Storms either, so not really getting a lot for this Storm, but some units dying, a couple SCVs dying, most of the Archon as well. Not really a lot though for Bisu, I would say.
Yeah, that could have been almost game-ending damage, but Barracks avoids tragedy there. He avoids catastrophe, keeps most of his SCVs alive, and he's got this 3rd base up and rolling, so we still have a game here, although I feel like Bisu has a bit of that lead. He didn't really get much damage out of that first really critical Storm drop.
Right, we're going to have another drive-by storm drop, I imagine. He's going to get set up for another flyby, but Barracks has been quite astute in his defense thus far with this Wraith as well. Going to be getting on top of the shell, getting a few shots onto it right now. But here comes Bisu with a train of units coming into the natural third false high ground area with 2 speed shells going to start dunking on these siege tanks. Zealots start streamlining in. A huge Zealot drop on these tanks and big storms coming out on the clumps of vultures in the eastern side of the flankers are cleaning up pretty much most of Barracks' army really cost efficiently from Bisu so far. This false high ground does not afford this tanks much advantage in this position besides the geometry of the map alone, and these beautiful storms will be cleaning up the vast majority of these Terran forces with some rallied units coming down to try and help clean this up, but there's just enough trickle left over for Bisu to keep trading off these units and keep trading off the pieces of the board quite cost efficiently here and denying this third base from being taken.
Ooh, that was a brutal loss. Oh, nice mine cleanup there, but things are still looking very, very bleak right now for Barracks. He's gonna have to retake this third right away, but during that time, Bisu's going to be setting up his, what is this, 5th base now? 6th base here, down in the bottom right. He's going to take that other main base. We don't have further upgrades coming here for Barracks. He can't really afford them right now. He needs to reestablish this. He's going to take, at the same time, a 4th. Sneakily here in the top right-hand corner, but I think Bisu can easily kind of uproot that area. He's threatening here with the drops on top of the tanks. A great storm there to start this battle off, and another storm going to follow that up with some Zealots running up onto this false high ground here. He's going to be able to dive on top of all of these tanks and reset this tank count once again. Oh, this is going so well for Bisu. I think he's going to be forced back. No, Bisu gets pushed away here. Those tanks over the wall actually assisting pretty nicely.
Yeah, it seems like Bisu doesn't want to overcommit here, worried about bleeding off too many of these units, or maybe overestimated Barracks' position there. Maybe thought there's a few more units waiting in the wings that he couldn't quite see and didn't want to fully commit. He wants to just wait for a few more rounds of units before recommitting to this assault. Speed shells ready to dive back in again, but now there's another minefield that has been diligently laid in the front, so he's got to chew through that first. Here comes the shuttles getting taken down by the turrets, but not before they're loading the storms and dropping huge blankets of psionic energy on top of these Terran mech units, shredding through their armor, since it's basically true damage. The Terran armor counts for nothing right now as the infantry of Bisu tries to rip through this position, but not quite able to manage it. These tanks in just a barely formidable enough position to ward off the threat for the time being, but they've now unsieged, and Bisu comes in again for round number 2, tries to take out this front line of siege tanks, does get pretty much all 3 of them, it looks like, more or less for free, and now going to be able to dive on top of this command center. It's very low H points already, so he's going to be dying, it looks like. Losing his third base is going to be really bad news, Bears. But Barracks only just now setting up this mineral only on the right-hand side, so he's reduced back down to a 3-base economy and soon to be mined out in the next few minutes, saying.
Overwhelming macro and micro here from Bisu. He's just been able to get such critical storms in each one of these fights, blanketing all of the tanks and vultures. All comes down to that first time that the third base got denied there. When the vultures were not present, we didn't have enough mines, and those big storms on top of all the tanks just ravaged that line, reset that count, and now Barracks is just dead in the water here. He's got nothing going for him right now with just 88 supply to 157. Bisu is so powerful right now. He's got tons of cannons at every location. Even if you send in vultures everywhere to try and get damage right now, Bisu just doesn't matter. He just doesn't care. He's just got so many pros. He's got so many nexuses to remake those probes. Even dealing massive economic damage here is not going to matter. Bisu has that army. He's got tons of shuttles here. He can run over, any push out that comes from Barracks. His tank count is incredibly low right now, and I think it's just Bisu's game to lose here. He can go ahead and do whatever he wants at this point. He's got plenty of Templar popping out here. He's got so many gateways. He's going to add gateways down the bottom right as well. Look at this. Running in with the vultures. This is when things get really desperate for the Terran, is when the Protoss is so far ahead they could just build cannons everywhere. There's just really no damage that can be done.
don't really see how Barracks is going to come back in this game, saying it's just such a momentous challenge for him. I mean, we have seen the likes of Mind pull out these crazy comebacks in recent days, but I'm not sure if there's any path for Barracks to come back in this game against the likes of Bisu. He's trying desperately to get some kind of foothold in the center of the map here with these minefields being laid, but here comes Bisu in full assault with the observers revealing all these minefields, sweeping them up in a heartbeat and coming into bomb on top of these tanks as well. There's probably some High Templars ready to storm as well. He doesn't even need them, just pure Zealot Dragoon probably be enough to overwhelm the position. Sonic Storms being used anyway to just efficiently deal with these big clump siege tanks as well. And it looks like this is all going to be for nothing, as finally Barracks has to just type GG and just give up as this huge Protoss ape leading the charge for his pack of chimps, destroying everything in their wake. So
all right, I'm feeling a little bad about Barracks there in that last game. He had a great game plan. I feel like he had some good moves with the aggression, but Bisu just completely shutting him down. Just destroying that Terran player in the last game.
Yeah, didn't really have much leg to stand on from the early onset. Even after just that first initial SCV getting sniped on his factory, it just seemed like he was like a bit wonky, like a baby giraffe stumbling out of the womb for the first time, not quite able to find his footing sure enough for the entire game. And Bisu, of the caliber that he is, able to just decapitate that giraffe and lay him to waste without any kind of remorse in his chimp-like brain.
Well, now we've got a TVT here. We've got Toss Girl versus Bora. This should be the longest game of the night. We are here on Retro. Can definitely split this map in half. It plays very similar to Fighting Spirit. A lot of high ground areas to take around the map. A lot of choke points to hold off. Recently, we've seen games in TVT that have been very, very short. Because, you know, one player gets the edge in the early game, but that tends not to be the case at the lower level. I'm not saying that Toss Girl is a lower level player, but when you're not, you know, Light versus Royal or something like that, tends to go late in TVT.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone understands what you're trying to say here, saying like you can be as good as these players are and still not even come close to holding a candle to someone of Light's caliber, but nonetheless these players are still rather stellar in their own right, putting the likes of Say and Line to shame. So
yeah, absolutely.
really still good to watch players like this play. Will be interesting to see if either one of these want to play a more vulture heavy style and rely on these more mechanical ways of playing. I mean, both of these players are fairly mechanically gifted, I would say. So both, I would be too surprised if we saw some kind of vulture war scenario. Maybe one of the players trying to sneak out a tank early on to try and get some advantage or something of the like. But it is possible to see a straight up go into tanks, set up the siege lines, control the lanes, and we'll see quite a long game as a result of that. But I would like to see maybe a bit more of a vulture-centric style from these two players and see if they're able to put the high APM to the tester.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see that vulture style. Honestly, I feel like Terran versus Terran has just gotten shorter and shorter as time has gone on here. Oh, Toss Girl gonna sneak into the main here with that SCV. That's rough, and Bora didn't even block with the SCV either. Ooh, that's it's gonna be a full scout here for Toss Girl. She sees that only one SCV is mining this gas. She knows exactly what's coming here. She's gonna be able to react accordingly. She's got 2 hidden Marines as well. What? She's producing 4 Marines here. That's a little bit interesting.
Yeah, it looks like she's going to be going for some sort of timing, or she wants to bait the 1-1-1 build and then shut that down because she knows that they'll be very unit light and the Marines will afford her some potential of like killing the counter Wraith if there was one. I guess there's some like protection against 1-1-1 while also doing her own 1-1-1, but I'm not entirely sure about the nuances of that.
Toss Girl's looking for damage here. She's gone for the starport and a machine shop. That means she's just been continuously mining with 3 workers here on gas. She's built up extra Marines as well, so she's looking for a push timing here. I don't see anything being researched from this machine shop, but with 1 tank and 4 Marines, this single Vulture plus a couple of Marines is not going to do very well. But pulling off some SCVs as well, she may want to build a bunker here and try to do a tank siege push. Looks like just barely going to see this. No, she's not going to see it. Oh my god. Not able to scout that. That barracks just millimeters away from scouting this push coming in. She's not going to know till the last second. Here comes an armory. At least she's going to have that done when the wraiths start to show up here. But this push is very, very scary. I think you run forward here with the vultures and just gun down as many Marines as you can, right? Because we don't want to let this bunker get up.
Well, yes, but usually that would only be the case if there was also a Wraith behind us, and we don't have that. So instead, we're going to see a big SCV train trying to desperately body block the Marines getting into the bunker. 1 Marine right next to the bunker, but it doesn't matter because the bunker's not going to finish anyway. Pretty good cleanup thus far, but there's no anti-air besides these 2 Marines for this race. Needs to make sure that these Marines do not die to this tank right now. Looks like Tosco being a little bit lazy with the control on this Vulture, taking a few too many hits, but another Wraith is also on the way. So as long as Tosco can just limit the anti-air opportunities of the opposing Terran player here right now, it'd be really hard for Bora to stabilize in this game once the Marines start to get gunned down one at a time. But the Goliath coming out is going to be a real big stability boost for Bora here. Needs to get some SCVs back to mining, actually. I think this is a few too many SCVs to pull, but I guess wants to just SCV train the contain right now and try and break out at this moment in time with just 2 Goliaths. A little bit risky though. Bunker's finished as well. I don't think this is going to work. Bora pulling the trigger maybe a little bit too early here is going to pay the price for it, Sam.
Yeah, that was rough to watch. She was shooting the barracks quite a bit there. That barracks just really coming in clutch, eating a lot of damage. You can see how damaged that is at this point. I was cringing at those Marines. We got 2 Marines to fight the Wraith earlier, and one of the Marines was actually walking back and forth behind the first Marine instead of firing at the Wraith. Very, very painful stuff. We've got just a bunch of Goliaths popping out here. She's going to relocate this one factory because she doesn't want to allow this these 2 tanks on the low ground to hit this machine shop. I wish she would have built the machine shop on the left factory instead, though, because now I think she's actually in range. Taking some damage on this command center. Going to pull the SCVs once again. 3 Goliaths and a whole bunch of SCVs going to take on these 3 tanks. I don't know how this is going to go. Looks like the tanks are just going to be targeted smartly onto these Goliaths, picking them off. And GG, what we thought was going to be the longest game of the night. Toss Girl takes it away right here in the early game. That's how to take out an early expanding Terran player.
Yeah, I'm really kind of shocked to see that. I mean, like you say, though, a little bit common to see these TVTs just being cleaned up so much quicker these days. I would have liked to see a longer game, but sometimes these fast, high-octane TVTs where the game just ends in the first few minutes can be rather exciting to watch. Soon.
All right, set 5 is going to be YSC versus Tyson, our only PvP of the night. Protoss lovers out there gotta be enjoying this matchup with Team Bisu bringing out all the Protoss shenanigans. I'm very impressed with Toss Girl's play that last game. The timing of that attack looked incredibly difficult to hold. Very, very deadly. Nice control from Bora in the initial parts of that, taking out most of the Marines, stopping that bunker from going down. But the follow-up from Toss Girl was amazing, and the future breakout attempts were just not sufficient there to bring herself back. That was I get really nervous when I see TVT, man. TVT is so volatile.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, there are some very strict rigidity to it in terms of like how the pieces on the board can move. It can be quite linear like chess, but honestly, like the way people have started to understand the matchup more, and they're able to kind of break out the mold in the early game and kind of do their own thing, and these like early timings, like it does seem like almost like a Zerg versus Zerg, but without the same kind of like high intense micro that you see in ZVZ. So it is kind of an interesting thing to watch. I'm interested to see how the meta will develop in TVT overall.
No, we haven't really gotten a lot of TVT, of course, with KCM, the race war being what it is, it's like we're only now getting a look at a lot of these mirror matchups and getting a chance to see how much they've evolved. And I think that TVT, like ZVZ, has evolved a lot over the past couple of years.
Yeah, I would like to see a fairly long game from these two players, but it is PvP, so we might see one player try to expand and that player just die because he tried to expand. You never know what you're going to quite see in this. We see some actually quite interesting micro from YSC there, trying to see if he can like kind of finesse this probe and eventually work its way all the way to 0 HP with this like ring around the rosy style against this Zealot, seeing if he can kind of pull the wool over Tyson's eyes and not get him to adjust that probe mining and switch it out for a fresh probe. But not going to be having any of that nonsense is Tyson, as the Dragoon finally going to be bullying away that probe after its long-waited shenanigans finally going to be coming to a halt.
Neither player getting any proxy pylons or anything going here in the main. Both players not skipping the Zealot either, so makes it a little bit less desirable to go for that proxy pylon play. And we're going to see the first fork here between these two players. We've got range coming for Tyson and a much earlier Robo coming here for YSC. YSC gonna go right up into, I think it's going to be a very, very quick robotics support bay and some Reavers here.
Yeah, you might be right about that, saying both players currently more or less dead even on supply. Nothing too crazy from either one, but we'll be seeing some deviations in their style and their navigation into the mid game here, but it will be quite cautious. We see 3 gateways and Robo coming out here from YSC, so he's not messing around right now, saying he's going to be trying to produce so many units to try and overwhelm Tyson, perhaps hoping Tyson maybe will go for the 2-gate Robo expand and then wanting to punish that.
Yeah, this can snowball very quickly. A pylon out here. What is this pylon for, do you think?
I think it's just a spot for incoming shuttles, personally, just to have a little bit more faster reaction time. I think it's just a spotter pylon for sure.
All right, just a spotter pylon here, but the fact that Tyson has spotted the spotter pylon means he should be able to avoid that with his shuttle. You know, if he's coming in, he'll know which angle to take. He's producing his robotic support bay. So I was wrong here. It's actually going to be a robotic support bay for Tyson. And YSC probably just going to pop out a single observer and then just huge amounts of rallies of Dragoons here from those 3 gateways.
Yeah, but I think that this position will slightly favor Tyson because he went for this fast Reaver tech. He does have the splash advantage, so I feel like even with the 3-gate Goon advantage, it won't be enough to overwhelm the earlier Reavers. So I feel like Tyson, with good micro, should be in a very comfortable position here and able to take his expansion if so choose. We also will be seeing YSC wanting to also take his own expansion if he can't overwhelm Tyson, but I feel like he's going to want to push the issue here, and he's going to see how many gateways there are by the Goon count right now. He sees only 4 Dragoons and 1 Zealot at this time, so he knows it's probably just 2 gateways worth of units unless there are units idle somewhere else, so he's going to be feeling pretty confident about his position right now, and with the Observer to confirm that as well, he's going to feel very happy to come in here and do a lot of damage to Tyson if Tyson's not well prepared.
Okay, we've got a Reaver here in the shuttle, I think. That Reaver is going to turn the tides. YSC wanted to get in here and take this fight with his superior Dragoon count, but the Reaver popping out just in the nick of time here pushes everything back, and I think Tyson's going to be feeling very, very nice about this position. He's being followed by the Observer, so YSC maybe going to catch some of these reinforcements? No. Going to be forced back once again. Something is actually walking into Tyson's natural right now. Maybe going to be able to deny a Nexus being thrown down. I think that might be a Zealot there. But I think Tyson's really done well here. No, that's actually an Observer. He's going to see exactly when the Nexus gets thrown down, and I don't think he's going to be able to punish this either.
No, I think he basically has to. Well, he could just make units and try to punish it, but I think that the response is basically take his own expansion. That's going to be the response here from YSC, instantly taking his own expansion as a result.
Oh, what is this? Oh god, Tyson got to get back into a better arc here with his Dragoons. He's gonna push forward with his Reaver, but jumping right on top of that Reaver is gonna get those last few shots off. He kills the Reaver. Only a couple of decent Scarabs came out there. Not the best targeting here by Tyson. YSC overwhelming right now. If there's not a Reaver kind of marching out to the front right now, he might just be dead. Okay, there's the Reaver popping out.
Yeah, he needs that Reaver badly, and basically YSC's just waiting to throw down the Nexus. Like, he's willing to just keep pumping units for as long as he can maybe get some kind of advantage and win, and as soon as he realizes, okay, this is a nice situation to stabilize, I'm just going to throw down the Nexus now. So now he's in the driver's seat because he's got the earlier Nexus timing. Tyson's the one who has to come down this narrow ramp, see, already killing his eggs to make the unit transfer just that little bit better flow for him to come down here and retake this natural expansion, which, if YSC so choose, could make this very costly for him to come down here, but is for the time being more than happy just to make his own Reavers, slug them down to the natural expansion and take his own, and just take this small economic advantage.
Yeah, this is... Oh god, he's gonna lose this shuttle? Oh, that was really, really close. Looks like it got back to the high ground just barely in time. One Reaver shot gonna come out here, but the Dragoon's gonna run forward once again. He's gonna pick off the shuttle. Nicely done. Now he's got a shuttle and Reaver of his own and still superior Dragoon count, so he may be able to come in here once again and fight once he pulls back. Another Dragoon snipe there. Really, really nice micro here by YSC. Does lose one on the way out, but he's got the earlier Nexus. He's got two Reavers here, and he should have a shuttle pretty soon. He might be able to just push in and end this game. Tyson with now 4 gateways here, just pumping out pure Dragoon. I don't know if you can even afford to produce on 4 gateways and produce Reavers at the same time. I think that's a little bit overkill.
Yeah, he basically can't. He just has to like choose between, do I build out of these 4 gateways or do I build some Reaver artillery? So he can produce both, but not at the same time. So probably we'll see like more of like a 3 gateway, 1 robo production with the occasional opportunity to build 4 Dragoons at a time. It's not really going to be that big of a deal for him to be able to produce those 4 Dragoons. It might give him a slight tempo ability later on, but for the time being, not really going to be able to be leveraged against Tyson. And with this 2 base economy he's up against, it's going to be really tough for him to find any kind of economic footing in this game for the going forward. We're going to see 5 gateways of production from YSC. He can afford to produce out of these gateways, unlike these 4 gateways we see Tyson struggling to fill.
Yeah, now Tyson was kind of sitting back here in a concave, kind of what I was hoping he would have done earlier. Now gonna run out forward, gonna take some shots with these Reavers. Actually kills one of the Reavers right off the bat. He gets both of the Reavers. Wow, this has gone really, really well for Tyson. My god, that really switched over quickly. These Reaver battles can swing on a dime here. They can turn on a dime, and YSC lost both of his Reavers, and both of Tyson's are still alive with the shuttle as well. He takes 1 volley from 4 Dragoons. That's a little bit unfortunate. Tyson's still pushing forward here. He may be able to get in range of the natural here with these Reavers. He loses a free Dragoon as well. Oh my god. This might just be Tyson's game here. He made an early blunder, but now he's bringing it back really, really well.
He's only producing 1 Scarab at a time at this slugged Reaver in the natural expansion, trying to buy desperate time to get a few more Scarabs, but big detonation on both of those Reavers, but losing their own Reaver as well. This shuttle has been taken out. Dragoons coming in from behind. The 2 Reavers have no shuttle support right now, but they still have a fairly high amount of HP, so the probes are going to be back with a big detonation on that probe line as it gets back into the main base. So pretty nice pickup from Tyson. They're getting some of those probes despite most of them getting away, and now going to be coming to natural, maybe killing this Nexus for free as well. And there's not really any ability for any counterattack from YSC or any counterplay whatsoever, as these Dragoons out in the middle of the map getting out microed by Tyson. Tyson just kind of winning everywhere right now. It's completely flipped the script on YSC here, and unfortunately going to be coming up into the ramp, and it's nothing to protect this Reaver. Gets sniped by 2 big volleys, and with these other slugs Reavers coming up the ramp, I don't think there's any way that YSC can stabilize in this game, Sam.
Ooh, I don't know about this. This is kind of crazy. He's trying to get up this ramp right now and win the game outright, but he loses both his Reavers, and we're going to have a lot of Dragoons popping out here in a second. YSC, you know, he's going to lose some probes here. He's going to lose quite a few Dragoons as well, but I think that maybe he can hold this off. I don't know. Tyson here with 4 Dragoons on the high ground. Okay, he's killing a lot of probes now. There's a Reaver popping out. If he jumps on top of this Reaver and kills it, I think it just might be GG. He's just about to get that so low. Looks like it will go down. And Tyson with the reinforcements here, going to be able to clean all of this up. I think he's done it. Some major blunders here on both sides, but I guess Tyson blundering just slightly less than YSC, going to be able to take this game.
Wow, it looks like, yeah, it's going to be about all she wrote. It's just so many pros have gone down. The supply kind of like resembling not much any hope coming back in this game. 27 supply to 45 and still falling as these probes drop like flies one at a time. These Protoss Dragoons side disruptor shots. Just GG finally called from YSC. Tyson taking him down and flipping the script on this guy.
Yeah, wild attack there up into the main base. You don't often see that type of attack trying to end the game just like that. Usually you'll fall back and grab a Nexus and just take the advantage, like sit on the low ground there in an arc and make it really hard for the Protoss opponent to actually come down their ramp. But not even caring about that, Tyson just goes for the win and makes it work. Crazy game there. And another quick one, man. We're just having so many quick games here today. Let me move on to our next game. What is this? Match number 7? No, match number 6 is coming right up. All right, we're already in match 6, and I feel like the day has just barely begun. Already here with Queen versus Mini cross map on Retro. This should be an excellent ZVP.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be pretty much the best game of the evening, these two players. I'm really hoping Mini isn't on any kind of emotional tilt, like maybe the reason that he's not currently team captain and is instead just leaving that mantle for Bisu to pick up so he can focus on his absolute stellar gameplay.
Mini, the technical team captain, or the team captain from the beginning of this season, going to be facing off against Queen, who is still the captain of his team. Queen going to be throwing down a pool here, overpool coming from him. Playing it safe against who is one of the most unpredictable Protoss players that we have.
Yeah, I mean, he does sometimes like kind of choke a little bit and get a bit frustrated and kind of falls apart, but when he is playing his absolute A game, this guy is a monster. Not only can he do such a wide range of play in the early game phases and do some really creative stuff that we haven't really seen before and new ways of abusing the other races of the game, but he does come with such stellar micro and control and the understanding of the game, and it's really exciting to watch him play when he's playing his best. Getting a nice little hatchery block as well. Annoying Queen comes in again and gets another denial. Builds a pylon as well. Really wants to shut this down and then make his way to the third base location to be as annoying as he can for Queen and disrupt any kind of game plan that Queen had prepared, and instead could be forcing out a lot of the Ling response.
Yeah, but this is okay for Queen. We've already got the Lings on the way here. The third base just be thrown down at the third location, or the second base, excuse me, thrown at the third location. We should have another hatchery coming here at the natural, not too far behind where Queen and wanted to throw it down. We're saving up some larva here right now. Queen not really sure of what's being done here on the side of Mini, so once he sees that zealot, he'll know he needs to produce some more lings, but he's saving those larvae just to make sure, you know, hey, if you happen to be going for a forge, I can squeeze out a few extra drones here. I like this play from Queen.
Yeah, I like this play as well. I mean, like you say, though, it's not going to be a too huge ordeal to have this little early disruption. It's just a small psychological and technical victory for Mini going forward to try and control the ebb and flow of the game as much as possible. and that really does allow you to put yourself in the driver's seat and stay in the driver's seat for the remainder of the game. And usually it's the other way around. In the early game, you have the Zerg being the one to dictate the pace while the pros play. But hold the phone, because this Zealot getting boxed in the corner before he can get behind the mineral line. Beautiful play from Queen. Does kill 2 of those Zerglings, but not before taking all the way down to 6 hit points. So going to be cleaned up quite cost efficiently by Queen. So really nicely done, and it's a little bit tough for Mini to have to deal with here, losing that Zealot too easily. And I guess they're going to be trying to put the pressure on this third hatchery, but I'm not sure he's going to kill that in time. I think instead he's going to get it fairly low, and that will maybe need to be sniped later on in the game.
Yeah, well, Mini has done a pretty good job distracting Queen here. He's drawn all of the Lings over to this third base, and he forced the Lings to respond in the main as well, and that's allowed him to get the most greedy opener here after the gateway expansion, just going directly into Nexus, not getting the Forge until just now. So he's gotten away with a little bit here. He's forced out those extra Lings. I'm liking his position right now. We've only got 1 drone here at the third, and those 2 Zealots are giving him a lot of information. They're hiding behind there. They're seeing how many drones are popping. He might even get a drone kill. Oh my god, he gets that drone kill. Uncharacteristic for Queen to lose a drone like that. And he even gets behind the mineral patches again. My god, that's got to be frustrating for a Zerg player.
Yeah, it's really frustrating for him, and even though he's going to be trading at a deficit with those Zealots, he is still just going to be wanting to trade that off, because it is still worth it to take that slightly worse trade to get that dealt with as soon as possible. So unfortunately for him, going to have to be swallowing that tough nut there. And instead, we see another Zealot coming up here into the third base while the Zerglings have already cleared out. So if he doesn't react quickly to this and has to lose even another drone, it's going to be painful. Losing the mining time alone is going to be painful enough for him. Saying he's trying to dance these drones around so they don't lose too much mining time, but he might lose a drone if he goes for this angle.
Oh, I tell you what, Jin, this is so painful here. As a Zerg player, you finally cleaned up those Zealots. You lost drones. You took a bad engagement against that, and then another Zealot slips in and delays that mining again. I think that Queen is going to be on a bit of a tilt here. I certainly would be in this situation. He's just going to calmly, though, throw down his Spire and get another hatchery going. Hopefully he's able to maneuver this into a decent position later on, but you got to be feeling a little bit rough here as Queen after all the shenanigans that have been pulled by Mini here in the early game.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to be seeing a fairly standard transition from both players, getting this fast Corsair out, and we're going to be seeing a 5 hatchery worth of production from Queen with that Spire on the way. So despite all this crazy early game shenanigans we saw, more or less going to be lined up to where both players want to be. But this Zergling actually coming into the main base, nearly getting the probe down, just 2 more hits and would have taken out that probe. Every little helps in this matchup, and Queen trying to find any kind of bounce back in this game using whatever tools he has at his disposal, and still trying to get work done with this single Ling. Might get the probe, and does get the probe, in fact, with that Ling. Beautifully done, and finally gets that Ling taken out, but getting that probe is a nice little moral victory for him there, especially taking a small chip out of the economic curve of Mini, going to be able to help him out coming forward here.
Yeah, making use of that 350 APM, Queen keeping that single Ling alive in the main base since the very beginning of the game, and eventually getting some value out of that. All the Overlords spread out here on the left-hand side, not being spotted yet by Mini, but if he starts to clean those up, it could be really, really painful. 1 Sunken Colony finishing up here, plus some Lings coming in to reinforce, should hold these Zealots off very nicely, making his way back to the ramp here, but Mutalisks are now popping out, and I think all these Zealots are going to go down relatively free here. And Mini gonna lose a big chunk of his early army and map control as well. Queen actually taking some control now in this matchup. He's gonna be able to drone very, very hard after this.
Yeah, he's gonna have to like pump out a huge amount of drones and just enjoy that lead going forward. Now 6 hatcheries worth of production. There will not be a huge armada of Corsairs to worry about for quite some time, so he can, if he wants, come in there and put a little bit of pressure on with these mutas as well, and just like kind of keep Mini honest here and make sure that he is building these Corsairs. We will need to be a little bit careful coming in here. It looks like Mini hasn't really skipped anything. He's got 2 cannons in the main, 3 in the natural, going up to like 5 or so at least Corsairs, it seems. So yeah, it looks like Mini is basically not cutting any corners, and Queen's making sure that's the case. And once he sees that, he's going to turn around and go back to making a few rounds of Hydras, and going to be comfortable with his position in this game, seeing that Mini is basically still investing all those resources into what he needs, so now knows that he's in a pretty comfortable position.
Yeah, Queen has pumped out those additional drones, getting himself into a comfortable economic position. Doesn't have that 3rd gas yet, though. So just going to be pumping out Hydras, getting those upgrades rolling, but not ready to make the Lurker transition here yet. And Mini just sitting back, getting his gateways rolling here. Is he going to go for a big push timing, or is he just going to try and take a 3rd base here? Queen keeping an eye on that 3rd base location and poking in with the mutas, trying to figure out what exactly is going to be coming here. Even more drones popping out for Queen, really hitting that high saturation point where he's going to be able to produce masses and masses of Hydra. Now grabbing the 3rd gas, so I think we will see a quicker Lurker coming out here, and maybe Queen even looking to secure a 4th base while Mini grabs this 3rd.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting what happens here, because we see an even supply count from both players, 100 to 101, so this actually does favor the Zerg. And with these Scourge kind of zoning out the Corsairs temporarily, some of these Zealots are taking a few pot shots, but really what Queen wanted there was to catch one of these High Templars quite critically, and wasn't able to get that, but is keeping Mini busy for the time being while he comes into the natural expansion area with these Hydras. Wants to see if he can come in for some snipes. Beautiful storm from Mini, though, clumping up on all of those Hydras, really being painful for Queen to have to swallow that nut, and unfortunately for him, going to be able to have to slow down this military effort in this area. Is going to be painful for him to weather, because he's losing all these mutas to the Corsairs as well is Queen. So right now nothing going well for him, and Mini starting to come out ahead on the military curve here, and now Queen feels a little bit desperate to find something done. All the Corsairs though taking so many pot shots in the main base. Now Queen wants to make something happen. He wants to force some kind of issue now, coming into the 6 o'clock position to try and snipe this High Templar and take out this 3rd base while he still can. If he can get onto the high ground and block a beautiful storms on those Hydras, though, Sam.
Hydra's just getting completely surrounded there. The Zealots and Dragoons are going to come up to this high ground, push everything away. That was a rough trade for Queen, and I don't see a 4th base yet. He's still producing Hydras and trying to make something happen, but he needs to take a hint here, I think, pretty soon, and realize that Mini's not going to be broken right now. He is going to lose his Templar. Oh, that Templar getting picked off is actually huge. Losing that Templar is actually a big swing in Queen's favor, and he's got a lot of Hydras here. You cannot fight this without Storm. He's going to be pushed back for a 2nd. Storm is about 2 seconds away. He does have 1, but very well dodged here by Queen. Queen just kind of overwhelming right now. There's another Grid Storm in the middle of all of this, but again, Queen kind of dodging a lot of that damage, pushing forward here with more and more rallies. Is he going to be able to shove forward here and actually force a kill onto Mini in the early game? This is crazy that he's been able to do this well so far. He's still got an Overlord here. He cannot just produce a single DT and shove this away. He's gonna have to hold on here with just... Oh, he does kill that Overlord, so maybe he can pop out a DT here and keep himself safe. No, 1 more Overlord is present. He does kill that as well. But Overlord speed is done. Things are getting a little bit crazy here. Diving on top of the cannon, he might be able to do it.
Wow, there is a DT here though, so a little bit of time being bought for him. There are some more Overlords trying to get into position. Lurkers hatched as well. Hydra's retreating to try and catch these Corsairs. Is able to do so. GG finally called from Mini. Wow, Queen.
Good God, Queen. Perfect micro there. After some of those initial kind of blunders, you know, with the first group of Hydras coming forward and trying to get on top of that third base. He got surrounded and really crushed, but a few quick Templar snipes gives him the momentum he needs to push through that natural, get on top of the rallies there. And the Lurker follow-up forces the GG. Very, very well played. We're actually going to get a game number 7 here. That is fantastic. We're going to go to that roulette wheel here in a second. First, we're going to get a little fireworks display. There we go. Celebratory fireworks here as we get into our next game. All right, so here's our lineup. We've got the bans coming in now with Team Queen banning the Toss Girl versus Bora matchup, and Team Bisu banning YSC versus Tyson. Surprising bans.
Yeah, I'm really flabbergasted at the Toss Girl ban here from Team Queen. I don't quite know how to wrap my head around that one. The only thing I can think of is, for whatever reason, they want to keep the other sets open to redemption. Maybe the likes of Zealot, for example, being like, no, don't ban me. I've got this guy. Leave me in the roulette. I will smash this guy.
Possibly. And also, Tyson won over YSC, didn't he, in that PvP? So why are they banning that one?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's strange to me. It's very, very confusing. But we're going to get the roulette wheel spin here. We're going to see which matchup is going to be repeated. Here we go. Okay, set number 2. We are going to see that Zealot versus Mighty rematch. That is very exciting. We're going to jump into that right now. All right, the cheese pizza player. Zealot here with the stuffed crust in the top left-hand corner. We got Mighty in the bottom right. Will he try some shenanigans again this game? I felt like last series between these two was so close. You're almost scared to try another crazy build like that here as Mighty.
Yeah. I'm not sure what we're going to see. I'm not sure we're going to see now from these two players, but I bet you Zealot really wants to redeem himself. Like, there's not a fiber of my being that's telling me that Zealot's not going to try and play like his absolute A game right now and impress us all. So I'm really hoping to see some stellar stuff from him this game.
Yeah, for sure, right? That was his debut performance, and Zealot got knocked out in kind of an embarrassing fashion. Now he's been given this redemption opportunity. The RNG's has decided in his favor. He gets this rematch, and he shouldn't be wasting this opportunity here. He's gonna go for an 11 hatchery. It looks like 12 hatchery. No. What is he doing? He's sending out the drone right to the third. Okay, he's gonna avoid this probe here that's coming up to block his hatchery.
Yeah, we see a lot of players doing this, where they're making this 11 hatch at the third base location on this map, and then just kind of like eating the fact that they can't make this 11 hatch in the natural. So I think this is usually a wise choice of approaching a situation like this. As long as you do your due diligence with your timings, there's not really much that can go wrong. Besides, say, what we saw in that the other game where we saw the gateways being made in the main base and kind of craziness, and we're not going to see anything like that here. And Zealot's going to be feeling pretty happy with the fact that he's going to be able to fight on a bit more of a ground that he's more comfortable with. And usually he is very comfortable in these early shenanigan, low economy styles of play, but he just barely got the better of him last time, and he's going to be a little bit annoyed about that and wanting to redeem himself. So let's see how well he's going to play this game. So far, nothing really to talk about, but it looks like we see Mighty trying to bully down this drone, and the drone's going to get recycled out of another one, but not before coming into the main base and getting inside and seeing all the gas timings and pull timings while the Zealot makes his way to the third base. So
yeah, not being able to see the main base of Zealot is an uncomfortable position to be in. Mighty does manage to slip that in now, though, and he's got that full information, so he's going to be feeling a lot more confident here going forward. First Zealot is going to make its way over here to that second hatchery over at the third base start to deal a little damage to that, and we're going to have Lings popping out here shortly. Zealot should be able to hold this off. Gas on the way here after that third base, so everything looking very normal so far from Zealot. He's going to be dealing with this pressure here. We'll still be waiting for that like switch up here from Zealot. Zealot eventually going to pull something out of his hat here, I should imagine.
Yeah, right now though, these zealots will be a little bit annoying for him to deal with, but he will be happy to trade them off sometime soon, I imagine. Even if it is at a disadvantage, a deficit to trade them off, eventually you do want to do that. He could also do this concave technique where you kind of like just block in the zealots to try and mitigate issues, but it's a lot more APM intensive, and you do see some of the Zergs that are comfortable do that kind of option, but it is a little bit more labor intensive and requires a bit more finesse. So we'll see if Zealot wants to commit to this strategy. It looks like thus far he wants to just box in these Zealots and keep the other Zerglings ready to threaten a counterattack, to keep the Zealots of Mighty at the wall in and not able to come out here and kind of control the situation here and do a little bit of damage mitigation while he drones up.
This is what I was wondering about. A Hydralisk Den comes down here from Zealot, and you know, we've still got these two Zealots here behind the third base mineral patches, so this is going to reveal a lot about what's coming for the Zerg player, because maybe Zealot can pop, you know, just drones out of that third base and kind of throw off Mighty, just have like a lower drone count at the natural when he does this Hydralisk bust. But now we've got more Zealots coming across the map. We've got 4 more Zealots about to hit here. There's just barely enough Lings, I think, to fight this if they have good surface area, and they do have pretty good surface area. But he's gonna fight with the Zealots at the back as well, and now Hydras are popping out, so he will be able to clean this up. But now Mighty's completely revealed the strategy here. He knows exactly what's coming, and he's gonna be able to deflect it properly now.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Mighty just is in full retreat, not even trying to get on top of these Hydras, realizing that the micro Zealot may be too much to deal with right now. Needs to get all of these Zealots back to defend to make sure there's some kind of defense that can be mustered to buy time for cannons to be warped in. Now, the real question is, how many Hydras will we see from Zealot? Is this going to be a full committal where he just keeps rallying the Hydras down and gets the win, or is he going to make just like 7 or 8, bust down the wall a little bit, and then just transition into making drones? We do see a few more drones being squoze out from him right now, but this Zealot's actually going to be a little bit annoying. There is 2 Hydras hatching that could come in and help, but he hasn't noticed, and maybe he loses a drone if he's not careful. He needs to drill these away. Does manage to save any drones from going down, but this is a lot of lost mining time for Zealot to have to deal with, and it's not going to help him out at all.
Yeah, this Zealot is so clutch right now, walking its way here into the natural and maybe even up into the main. It's seeing how many drones have been produced. It sees no additional hatcheries being thrown down, and he sees a bunch of Hydras popping out. So he knows pretty much exactly what he needs to do to mitigate this. A layer starts here before any additional hatcheries pop up. That's not something you see every day. Getting that layer here right away. What do you think he's going for with this?
It could either be a very fast lurker contain, or which I don't think is necessarily going to be a great option here, but still might work. It might even just be that yeah, I'm not too sure about this actually. Like, I think he's kind of like hedging his bets a little bit and trying to confuse Mighty with his tech, and he's trying to be a little bit sneaky here maybe. Just to try and throw Mighty off with what actually he is going for. Mighty is kind of just like committing to a very fast Templar archive, so it's probably like a very safe bet. You definitely will want to get that tech online as soon as possible, even if that's just for Archons to help against the Mutaflood, or if that's just very early storm timing to help deal with a very early Hydra flood, because he does know that there's a lot of Hydras already out on the board, so even with only 3 hatchery production, he still will be able to muster quite a sizable Hydra bust if he so chose, at like about 9-minute timing. So it really needs to get these Templar archives out as soon as possible, get that storm going, and then I think Mighty should be able to be in a comfortable position going forward here, but there is still some windows for Zealot to exploit.
Yeah, the storm, kind of a catch-all for basically everything that that Zerg can bring forward. But I think we're gonna see something really sneaky here from Zealot now. Maybe making a lurker and hopping over, or maybe is he gonna bring a drop up here? Looks like those Hydras have been revealed by the pylon at the back, but Zealot, he's gonna do something crazy right now, and I'm not sure what it's gonna be, but Mighty is a hit to the fact that there are Hydras back here and ready to go. Maybe he's just stopping probes from hopping over here. I'm not sure actually what these Hydras are for now.
I think for the time being, he's going to be stopping the probe from mining that out. But it's very likely that he also has some shenanigans planned for the future, like maybe lurkers being morphed there and then later dropped over so that they can be used to kill the probe line or something. Anything is possible from this position. I'm curious to see if he wants to set up a very fast lurker contain. He does have quite a bit of gas banked, and I'm imagining he did rush lurker. Yeah, here's the lurker egg. So it was that lurker contain play that I thought maybe he would go for. I didn't think it would be the wisest of choices, but looking at the board right now, maybe it was a pretty good play from him. It was the one thing I thought maybe he could do from his position that would work fairly well, but I wasn't sure if it was suitable given what Mighty was doing. But it does seem that it's lined up nicely with what Mighty has done.
The Mighty here adding on a lot of gateways, making sure that nothing's coming in through the back, and I imagine that Zealot's also upgrading drop right now. This man loves his drop play. He's going to be upgrading here. I wonder what the upgrade's going to be. Possibly +1 attack right away. Just gaining that upgrade advantage here over Mighty, who had that upgrade, that forge destroyed, had to build a new forge in his main. It's a bit slow. Yeah, we've got some lurkers being produced here at the back, down there at the bottom left. I think that Overlord there is in position to pick those up and try to drop them into the main or natural here going forward. Zealot gonna try and deal a lot of damage here pretty soon. Oh, he's actually going for the stasis cell. This is not what I was expecting at all. He's gonna break through that and then maybe come around the back. I don't know. This actually opens up a good opportunity for Mighty, right? Mighty's gonna be trapped here in the natural, but he could send Zealots and other units around that bottom side and actually get out onto the map in that direction.
Right, it's kind of a weird situation. I think Zealot has something planned for this. I think he has some kind of idea of how to abuse the Protoss from this position that we're not quite seeing yet. But I do believe he's going to be really annoying to Mighty, though. I think that even though he's killing this, I think that what we're going to see potentially is when Mighty chooses to push out in a second, which we see now, he will come in and try and do a counter-attack in the back door. He knows the timing of the push out here at the 11-minute mark, and he knows that just after that the stasis will be down, but this is kind of like a bait and switch right now. He wants to bait Mighty out of breaking out of the main base, and then he's going to try and come in to the main base with a drop while also swinging around the back as well. So kind of a little bit of sneaky play here from Zealot, trying to read the game and then plan ahead.
I think that Mighty's broken out of here a little bit too efficiently, though, getting those great storms. Now gonna come in with those drops. Here we go. There are cannons in position, both at the natural and the main base. Here comes that drop. There should be a great storm opportunity there. On top of all those units, some probes are going down. A lot of probes being transferred here towards that main base. Hopefully he's gonna recognize that and pull those away. He does. So I don't think much is going to be lost here, but maybe the Nexus goes down in the main base. Maybe that Templar Archives as well. It's taking a lot of damage here. This is actually going pretty well for Zealot if he picks off these really important buildings.
Well, Zealot is showing us that Zerg drop does actually work pretty good in ZVP without cracklings. It's just you have to set up these really intricate lines of play to be able to execute that, and yeah, kind of impressed so far. Like, obviously that didn't do like game ending damage necessarily, but yeah, pretty impressive stuff. And I do think it was intentional to allow Mighty to break out there. That was the whole plan, was to let the army come out for that whole play, but he was a little bit efficient in doing so and almost cost Zealot maybe an engagement there. But so far pretty much everything has gone Zealot's way, and now getting some trades on this bridge. Needs to stabilize though and make sure this army can't get across this bridge for two cost-efficient trades here. But the lurkers are all stacked and borrowed. Now they were stormed down. A misplay from Zealot there, I think. Panic borrowing all those lurkers is going to cost him a little bit. And now starting to get the reinforcements cleaned up, and his rally points are now exposed. He has to re-rally all of his hatcheries, so he's now going to be slowed down in his macro cycle efforts, and giving Mighty a big tempo swing coming up into the third base location, which is where all the Zerg production is. So even though only one base worth of economy right now, does have a huge tempo lead coming over these bridges and could punish Zealot severely. Zealot desperately trying to hold off these forces, Sam.
Yeah, Zealot being a little bit aggressive with that lurker morph. He could have morphed this back at home and had lurkers for the defense here across these bridges, but now Mighty coming across the bridge with a pretty decent force is going to be able to jump on top of all of these Hydras. Hydras are popping out here, and there is a force of Zealots down in the bottom left that's now coming back to kind of help out, but this is so many Dragoons here, and when you get to this critical mass of Dragoon numbers, the Hydras just really don't do much. One Storm goes down, kills a ton of drones here over at the third base. Some lurkers do manage to come back for the defense here, but this is just way too many Dragoons, and they're just the pure rallies of Mighty. He might be able to push through for the victory. Oh no, Zealot just completely falling apart now. He had some good ideas. He had some good execution with the drops there, but Mighty just solid play from him. Able to put the pieces together and come across the map here. He's killed so many hatcheries. All the macro hatcheries were placed over there at that third base. So 4 hatches go down. There's only 2 left, the main and natural, which can actually produce units, and that's just not going to be enough for Zealot to be able to hold on here against this one base Protoss that sent everything across the map. Dragoons here killing off this second to last hatchery. You can see Zealot salty about this one. Gonna wait until just about all his buildings are destroyed before tapping out, but GG is called. Zealot leaves the game. Wow, that's a rough loss there for Zealot once again. All right, the bans have been changed here. It looks like Team Queen deciding to change up their ban. They're gonna go ahead and ban Barracks versus Bisu, that set for this next spin, and Team Bisu gonna switch up their ban to Tosker versus Bora. These bans make a lot more sense to me, right? I think they might have made a mistake or something in that last spin there, because look at that, Barracks versus Bisu. Yeah, that was kind of a stomp, right? That's a good choice to ban. And then Tosker versus Bora. Tosker definitely favored in that matchup, so a better ban here for Team Bisu. Makes a bit more sense.
I mean, yeah, this definitely makes way more sense than the first bans we saw. So I'm wondering if maybe there was a little bit of miscommunication or something in the first ban cycle there. I don't know what quite that was, but this makes way more sense. All
right, we're going to spin the wheel here. Here we go. Another Zealot versus Mighty match. Yes!
Yes!
No way. Holy crap. Another match here with Zealot versus Mighty, the third match. Let's see if Zealot can finally pull out a win here. Now, he's really getting picked on here in his debut on KCM. This is crazy.
He better redeem himself now, is all I can say. If he doesn't win this one, then I don't know what to say about this guy. I'm going to lose a lot of respect for Zealot. Come on, my guy. Don't let me down.
All right, the story continues here. The trilogy, Zealot versus Mighty. How is this one going to go on Dark Origin once again here? Zealot now in the bottom right with Mighty in the top left. Can Zealot redeem himself? I certainly hope so.
Yeah, I really do hope so. I mean, they say, like, you know, third time's the charm, and if he can't make it a win here, I'm going to be really disappointed in my guy Zealot, because he's a very strong player and kind of hated in the community as well, because he's just one of those players where you can kind of stop what you perceive as to be his cheese, but it's like a multi-layered cheese. This isn't just your regular cheese pizza, you know, this is like a 3-cheese supreme, you know. There's like multi-layers of cheeses that are like kind of carefully curated to your specific palate and tastes, and this guy's like a chef in the kitchen, but sometimes he, you know, maybe chokes a little bit, you know, the crust gets a little bit burnt, and the pizza kind of, you know, doesn't quite, make the grade. But I have a feeling that now we're going to see the game from Zealot that we were hoping to see from day one of this series, and looks like we're going to be seeing more or less the same from both players, besides the fact that Zealot now finally going to be throwing down that early pool instead of going for this early 11 hash style to be a little bit safer in the early game now.
Yeah, playing it a bit safe here, Zealot, getting that over pool. That's going to allow him just to get into the game that he wants to play, right? We don't want to take early damage here. We do not want to allow Mighty to take control of the early game here. So I like the choice to go for the pool this time. He's going to go and send the drone to the third base immediately as well. So making sure that he's not going to be blocked. Another great choice. He would have actually got that down had he placed over there at the natural, just because Mighty was a little bit slow at sending the probe back towards that natural, but it's fine. He's got the hatch down on time. He's got Lings popping here, and he's going to be able to show us what his game plan is this game. Zealot coming out here across the map. That's going to be contested here by the Lings coming out of Zealot. I know that's a bit confusing. Zealot's talking about Zealot and the Zealot the player. I really wish that he would have chosen a bit of a more creative name, but it is what it is, guys. We're gonna do our best.
Yeah, we got Tosco playing Terran and the Zealot playing Zerg. A little bit confusing, especially for the older generations and like struggling to get their brain cells working on all cylinders and able to process this kind of a complicated situation here. But do you see the Zerglings able to zone out the probe from scouting the main base critically, which is a really nice deal for Zealot. Going to be really scaring Mighty at what the tech choice and timings of Zealot will be coming out here in the next minute or so, and that's going to be a nightmare situation for him to have to navigate. If you don't know exactly what the Zerg is doing, then it's very difficult to make the right choice as Protoss.
Yeah, not just any Zerg either. It's a Zealot we're talking about, so not knowing what Zealot is doing here in the main is a scary situation. This is a wild map as well. We saw some kind of crazy plays because of the map structure here in that last game, but I'm sure there's more that has yet to be revealed here from Zealot. More ideas that he's got here to dismantle this Protoss that have yet to come to fruition. Now we've got a bunch of Lings coming up, and the Zealots are not in the wall. Gonna come forward here. He's got speed on the way, and he's gonna go ahead and take this fight. Big surround here on a bunch of these Zealots. Zealots are stuck outside the wall. These two Zealots go down very, very quick. The third Zealot, as it pops out here on the right-hand side, is gonna get surrounded as well. That gets picked off. The only two Zealots that are left remaining are very low on the HP. He's going to go after the gateway. This could end very, very quickly. Tons of Lings coming up here. Zealot going to go for a Zergling all in here as the gateway falls. Mighty's going to be in a very bad position. He pulls the probes, though, right away. This is a much better hold already than what we saw from our female Protoss player earlier on. The probes being here is so important, but with no more Zealots coming out. Oh, he gets the gateway. Oh, huge, getting that gateway down.
Yeah, this is really huge for Zealot now. He's going to get on top of the cannon as well. There's going to be nothing that Mighty can do to defend against all the probes go down. GG is finally called. Zealot finally redeeming himself with this big timing saying.
Yeah, gets the clapper. There we go. Finally getting the win there. Zealot bringing the series to 9 games as well. So we're going to get that ace match. Very good here. You can see KCM just relieved. Oh, thank God we're going to get that ace match. I think it's going to be Bisu versus Queen probably, or maybe Mini versus Queen. We'll find out here in game number 9 that's coming right up. All right, the super ace match. Let's go. Queen versus Bisu here on Apocalypse. I'm loving it. Can't wait to see how these guys play this one out. We already saw an amazing PvZ in week number 1 on this map. Who is that between Solki and Best? That's right, Solki and Best. Was a fantastic match, so I'm looking forward to another great one here.
Yeah, looking forward to a great game from these two players, saying Bisu and Queen, such titans in this Starcraft industry. And I'm guessing we're going to be seeing quite a stellar game from these players based on the performances that we saw from them earlier.
Bisu here. I'm gonna go ahead and throw down a pylon at the front, but scouting immediately, I think we're going to see a Forge fast expand here, sending out that probe. I imagine he was looking for a hatchery. See if he could block that, maybe delay a 12 hatch. And if he didn't see a spawning pool here, he might have even gone for a Nexus first. But as things pan out here with the build from Queen, we're gonna have to see that Forge come out to defend himself against the early Lings here. Doing a good job fighting this drone as well, delaying that natural from going down over here at the third, and maybe he can even snipe this drone. The drone has actually been shoved into the back corner, doesn't have much HP left on it. Maybe Queen gonna reset the health on that by throwing it onto the extractor, hiding some Lings here behind the mineral patches. He's gonna send Lings out. No, those are spotted. Queen pulling the trigger a little bit too soon there and sending those Lings forward.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned if we're going to be seeing anything from Queen that's going to be able to upset the ebb and flow of Bisu in this matchup. Because I have a feeling that Bisu's going to be able to take advantage of this geometry of the map maybe a little bit better than Queen will. I mean, Queen has the kind of the powerhouse mid to late game transitional play that can dominate in ZVP, but I feel like Bisu's the kind of guy that's going to really disrupt that kind of play that Queen's going to want to be trying to set up for. So I'm a little bit concerned that I don't see Queen going forward unless he decides to go for some kind of like Hydro Bust is going to be able to take out Bisu here very comfortably. And Bisu does have a horizontal expansion, so I was thinking maybe a Hydro Bust here actually would have been maybe the play to go for, but I don't think we're going to see that from Queen.
Yeah, Queen much more comfortable as a player going for a quicker fourth base, and oh, he even saves the probe. That's crazy. Queen gonna be more comfortable going for an earlier fourth base, just droning up really hard and getting into a lurker Ling play later on in the game. He's not much of a Mutalisk player in this matchup, and I mean, I think that's fine because Bisu is very, very strong at controlling Mutalisk with his Corsair play. So Queen getting in here, he scouts the main base, and Queen has only really produced 2 Lings so far this game, so he's done a good job of droning up here. He's gonna have to produce some more Lings now, but his economy is looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, it is looking pretty solid actually. Saying we don't see +1 on the way for B, so you can go for like a super crazy +1 fast timing here as Protoss to do some shenanigan timing tax, and Bisu might be the kind of guy to go for something like that, but instead we might be seeing a very standard 5-minute +1 timing from him. Or he could have just taken it just now. I think I saw just some gas going at that moment there, but with this setup behind the mineral line at the third base, it's going to be a little bit annoying for Queen to have to deal with. And yeah, I'm not so sure about if I like Queen's choice of play thus far in this game. I really feel like he should have taken the driver's seat rather than kind of sit back and let Bisu kind of do what he wants here.
Yeah, this is really Queen style though. If you watch any of his tutorial videos, he's always talking about going for those earlier fourth base plays, really getting in the hive as quickly as possible, and that's when the win rate of Zerg really goes up, is when you get into those later game situations, when you're getting into those really powerful 4 or 5 base hive plays. Really nice micro here from Bisu to kill as many Lings as he can, but good response there from Queen, pulling back those weakened Lings and finishing off those 2 zealots. Now that he's cleared that out, he can really start to add on more and more drones. He's gonna have to pop a few Hydras here, maybe a couple of Scourge as well. Actually, I haven't seen the Spire. Did you see a Spire anywhere?
No, I haven't seen the Spire go down just yet, I don't think. Oh wait, is that in the main base? I think actually there is a Spire in the main base going up right now.
So going for that earlier layer, but maybe a Spire here in the main a little bit later. You're gonna defend with just Hydras here though in the early mid game. More hatcheries coming up. And, oh no, Evolution Chamber. So no Spire, just going straight into Hydra. This is going to allow him to produce a lot more drones. He's not going to have as much gas. Hasn't even taken the second gas here, but you know, he might take those gases a little bit later and actually go into a quicker lurker play here, because he's avoided this Spire tech completely.
Right now, I'm a little bit confused with what we're seeing from Queen. I know it's his style. Don't get me wrong. I totally agree with his style choice. I just, against Bisu, I really feel like you have to kind of do some kind of variability, and I feel like Bisu's going to like whittle him down a little bit here and kind of start chipping away at the infrastructure of the Zerg player, taking a few Overlord kills here, coming in for some pressure and trying to like challenge and tax the resources of the Zerg here, understanding exactly what the Zerg's got at whatever junction. So far, the Queen has done a pretty good job of warding off this pressure from Bisu, who's kind of just trying to clutch the claws around his neck as he comes in with the Zealots at the same time as the Corsairs, taking out these Overlords and trying to side block Queen, while also dealing with all these ground units with those Zealots, which I was really worried about happening, and I really feel like he should have done a little bit of a different avenue of a play here to ward off Bisu's coming in for this really early timing.
Yeah, this supply block that hit Queen right before the Zealots came in there made it that he just didn't have enough Hydras to block this attack. He also had his Lings kind of out on the map there, funnily enough. Not having them in position to defend these Zealots means that even more Overlords end up going down, and Queen is at the verge of falling apart here right now. He's lost so many Overlords. And there's a DT slipping in as well. This could get really bad very, very quickly. A lot of Overlords are in production right now. They're popping out at the right time to actually block this DT, thankfully, but this is still getting pretty out of control here for Queen.
Yeah, this is pretty out of control. Saying, I don't know quite how he's gonna fully stabilize himself in this game. We even see a DT drop coming out from Bisu, and there's no Overlord in the main base at all, and with Corsairs still sharking around as well. Gonna be a little bit intimidating for him to just commit an Overlord to the main base preemptively, so he's not going to be able to see that coming in until it's too late. So if he doesn't react quick enough, he might just lose a bunch of drones for free, because that shuttle's going to unload in the very back of his base, I imagine, as well, and like just sneak in the Dark Templar while he's distracted at the front. So could lose a lot of drones this game.
Yeah, it's really important to keep an Overlord in your main base despite these Corsairs flying around. Oh, he spots it. Okay, he sees it. 3 kills, 4 kills. Not the worst thing in the world. He's gonna kill off 2 of the Corsairs as well. That's big. So actually, Queen, you know, handling this pretty darn well, and that's a lot of the momentum out of the sails here for Bisu.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the better case scenarios for Queen going forward here. Bisu is still sizably ahead, but Queen has stabilized, all things considered, and now could come forward and maybe catch some of these High Templars off guard. No, not going to be able to do that. Zealots barely able to ward off these Hydras. They're not the best escorts, are Zealots. Dragoons way better at keeping the High Templars safe, but for the time being, while Hydras in low number are going to be able to ward those away. Does also have a Dark Templar with this army as well, forcing Overlord to be committed each time that these armies are going to be fighting, and that Dark Templar can also threaten to sort of like splinter off and go in another direction to catch up some reinforcements as well. And now with a big pincer attack from Queen, going to try and come in from behind and see if he can snipe some of these High Templars. Not quite able to get the positioning required to do so, but is trying to slow down Bisu in his approach, while also dropping into the main base is Bisu. And the Hydras are in position to catch this, and going to be warding away this shuttle play while Bisu desperately trying to hammer on the gates here. There's a beautiful concave set up at the northern threshold, but there is a lot of storms available to the Protoss player.
This is great splitting by Queen. He doesn't take too much damage from these storms. He's still got a good number of Hydras here. Plus those Hydras in the main are going to be able to help defend. Hydras, I think he's got this. I think he's going to be able to hold this off. Backing up towards the sunken colony here. And he's got great SimCity as well, so he can fall back to that. Push everything away. Yeah, he's held on. A few more maybe drones going down in this natural, though. A couple of Zealots were left alone there for a bit of time, so I'm not sure how much damage was done. Queen down to just 76 supply, but he's managed to bash away that attack. It was very dirty there at the end. There was an opportunity for Bisu to just outright win there if he got a really good storm on a group of Hydras, but Queen managed to avoid that situation, and now he's got decent Hydra number to actually push things away and continue this game on, although he is in a very dire situation here, and Bisu continuing to push on that pressure as he takes a third.
Yeah, Bisu looking like he's in a pretty commanding position in this game thus far, has done a pretty good job of it. If he can get away with taking this third base more or less for free and be unchallenged, we might just have to see a forced issue from Queen of having to go straight into Hive and then taking a fourth base, but he's doing a nice job of catching some of these courses. But meanwhile, a shuttle making its way into the main base yet again. Zealots being dropped. I'm not sure there's any High Templars in here to storm. I'm not sure quite if it's just more Zealots or what. Maybe he wants to storm in the natural. There must be a High Templar in there, surely. No, third Zealot. Maybe there was never a High Templar in it at all to begin with. Interesting choice from Bisu to only commit mineral units. Maybe he was worried about that being sniped and didn't want to risk any gas whatsoever.
Yeah, okay. Well, he does get a couple of drones. He makes a pretty big distraction here, and Queen loses a bit of mining time, but no real serious damage done here to the Zerg. As Bisu takes his third base, he's going to have to deal with this Mutalisk Flock, which will be looking to snipe down his Templar and take a big fight with just pure Hydra versus very few Dragoons right now. Just a couple of Dragoons, a few Dragoons, and quite a large number of Zealots. So this could snowball if Bisu loses those initial Templar here in this fight. Here we go. He's looking for the snipes. He is going to get one snipe. Nice dodge there on that storm. Two storms are just thrown out and wasted. A lot of these mutas are still very high on that HP. He sees the third base here, forces the Protoss army back. Maybe he's going to steal this high ground. He actually gets up onto the high ground here. This is actually a big move from Queen, forcing the Protoss army back there onto this low ground. Now going to dive in on the Templar once again. Oh, great pickup there into the shuttle, though. Really beautiful pickups here from Bisu, keeping all those Templar alive. And here comes the fight from the high ground. Queen going to shove up here, but he still has quite a few storms to deal with this.
Yeah, quite a few storms are available and a lot of Dragoons as well. This is a very big Protoss standing army for Queen to have to contend with, desperately trying to cling on to this high ground to find some kind of cost efficiency in these trades. But beautiful storms are blanketing these Hydras, small contingency of Hydras from the northern flank, trying to target the Archon down unsuccessfully. And some of those High Templars now bleeding on the front lines, though, so it is losing some of these critical gas units is Bisu, but reinforcing Protoss infantry coming out of these gateways, starting to contest this high ground. It's dropping in supply is Queen, 122, 80, a deficit of 44 supply right now. Bisu comes out onto the high ground peninsula commandingly for the first time, and now warding Queen back with this high ground advantage of his own, and starts to take control of this game, Sam.
Ooh, and you know what? Queen does not have a fourth base here. He was really hoping to get critical damage with that attack. Just wasn't able to snipe the Templar there. You just hardly ever see that type of interaction, and building or having that shuttle there was so clutch for Bisu, able to pick up those Templar as they were being focused by the Mutalisk and keeping them alive, allowing him to survive that huge Hydra attack. And now he's on the offensive here, pushing into just pure Hydralisk here with Storm, Templar, and Dragoon, shoving back all of this. You really need lurkers against an army like this, and there are none to be found here in Queen's army. He committed to those Templar, and now he's just got nothing here in terms of higher tech to actually deal with this aggressive push here from Bisu. He's just going to rally forward with more Templar and Zealots. He's even taking a fourth base right now. Bisu securing his future here as Queen taps out. GG, Bisu knocks him down. Incredible play there from him. And he gets the clapper from all three of our casters. Really, really nicely done.
Really nicely done, Sam. Really happy to see that kind of performance from Bisu. I was a little bit suspicious that was kind of where the direction of the game was going based on the tech choices and paths of the players, but Yeah, great execution for Bisu, showing why he's one of the best in the business in this matchup and has been the kind of staple for PvZ for so long. I mean, can you really doubt the guy at this point? He's like kind of one of the most accomplished pros players of all time.
Always seems to get that damage with the Corsairs as well, and this game was no different. Coming in, getting those Overlord kills, supply blocking Queen at that critical moment when that first Zealot attack came in, was able to kind of snowball the game into a winning position from there. Queen in a desperate situation, tried the move with the mutas to get that higher percentage win chance there, but he didn't manage to make it happen. And Bisu takes him out. He wins for the squad. So the Protoss squad is going to go forward here. I'm so glad we ended up getting to that ace match. I think that Zealot managing to overcome Mighty in that game number 3, probably the heartwarming story here of today.
Yeah, seeing that little redemption arc definitely brought a little bit of warmth to my heart, saying if that was even at all possible. And looking like this Protoss lineup just being driven on this battle bus by this Bora designated Terran driver, and you can just hear the chimps in the back. They're having a lot of fun right now, saying they're excited, they're jumping up and down, they're having a good old time, and they want to take it all the way. And I'm kind of getting the vibe right now. We may be seeing a Team Bisu versus Team Light finals if all things pan out the way I'm kind of predicting them thus far.
Is that what you're predicting? Team Light versus Team Bisu finals. Well, we've still got Team Snow and Team Hero that are coming out next, and that's a very exciting lineup as well. We've got Team Hero with Cadenzi on the squad, so our only Western player here in this all-Korean tournament.
Yeah, Cadenzi, very talented Scottish player, a female Scottish player, very, very strong Zerg. I think she is hitting high A, low S very consistently, even when not playing a lot. And definitely a very strong, aggressive Zerg. Likes to go for free hatch muter, kind of heavy microcentric style of play in ZVT, for example. Very, very confident in her ability to control. Has had a lot of coaching from the pros when she first got over to Korea, and has had a lot of help and training. I think she's even got some guides on YouTube. If there's any of you budding Zerg players want to learn a little bit, I think she's got some Zerg lava optimization mining guides on YouTube. Very good guides. So go check that out as well, Cadenzi.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely learned a lot of what I know about mining optimization from her videos. The choices here from Hero and Snow, kind of interesting. Snow picked up Stork in his lineup. I think that must have been his first choice. He also grabbed Motive and Gamo, as well as Bohai. So a very concentrated lineup here with just Protoss and Zerg on Team Snow. Not a single Terran player there. And for Team Hero, he grabbed Mong, Saxry, and Sharp, as well as Sunhani, which is another female Protoss player that I haven't seen before, but that's looking like a pretty strong lineup there as well. Just one single Protoss player, mostly Zerg and Terran. Should be an interesting match, and whoever advances from that battle is going to go on against Team Bisu. That's going to be coming up very, very soon, guys. Again, we're doing double uploads every week. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Make sure you're subscribed to follow along and see how this tournament turns out. I'll see you in the next video.